Hi there, my name is Hannah. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about owning goats and milking them specifically. So first of all, I do live on a farm. We have raised lots of goats, and we kind of started off not really knowing a lot, but now we have a lot of knowledge. We've been doing it for a long time, and so I have a great information for you guys today. In today's day and age, it is really popular to have milk alternatives and to kind of start doing your own thing again, kind of going towards a little bit back in the day. And so today I just wanted to give some information on what's really important when you decide that you want to maybe start a little farm and own some goats, stuff like that. So there's two main topics that I want to cover today. First of all, there's some really important factors to consider, and so I want to kind of dive into those and some things that people don't necessarily think about. And then second of all, I want to talk about the milking process specifically and how important that is and how it can really affect your outcome of owning goats. So first of all, some important things to consider. It's really right off the bat, you have to not get sucked into the idealizations of owning goats and the baby goats and all the videos and pictures on Instagram of baby goats jumping around in little outfits. While it's very adorable, there are also a lot of work and there's a lot of complications that can come along with owning goats, especially if you're going to have milk goats that are going to eventually have to kid or give birth. There's a lot of complications and a lot of things that can go on there, so it's really important to be mindful of those things and not just to get sucked in by the idealizations. So one of the main things that you need to consider right off the bat would be just the weather where you live. For me, we live in Alaska, so it does get very cold, but it also gets very warm at times of the year. There's lots of places around the world that do get really cold. Just like humans, some goats are more susceptible to the cold and some are more bulky and able to withstand it. So if it does reach an extreme cold, you just kind of have to keep an eye out for your goats. They do tend to shiver and tense up their bodies if they are unable to handle it. So if it's something you can do there that we've done in the past is to go get little vests. You can go to a thrift shop and they work perfectly. They do make some specifically for goats as well. It doesn't really matter, they just need to stay warm. If it gets an extreme heat, they do tend to pant almost like a dog. So it's really important to keep cold water out there and have shade for them as well. Second of all, accessibility to grain and hay. These are really important factors to consider, as grain and hay are huge in the dietary needs of goats. First of all, grain, you have to be able to go pick it up at least once a month or have a big truckload delivered here and there. But it's really important to kind of look into that, see what's around you, see what opportunities and options are available for you. And then next, hay. Hay is a big part of a goat's diet since they have the 4-chamber ruminant stomach. So it's really important to know if there's anyone around you that sells hay. And then also it's important to consider the delivery method of the hay. If you have a big truck, if you have a trailer, great, wonderful. If not, it is also important to consider if the people around you who do grow hay and everything like that, if they have a delivery option. And then the final thing, big important thing to consider is water hookups, electricity, and things like that. There are going to be times where if it's too cold, there are specific things you can put in big water buckets to keep them warm so they don't freeze over. Goats don't do well with not having water, so it's important to consider that as well. If you have electric hookups or even water hookups for cleaning purposes, and also waste accessibility. If you have any access, you're going to have to shovel some waste from the goats and have a place to put that as well, whether you put it in your garden or whether you put it in bags, whatever. It is something you can also sell, is waste from goats for gardens. It's a really great thing to throw in your garden to help the growth. So second point is milking the goats. This is a huge part of owning goats. Obviously, so the first thing you need to consider is sanitation. This is really important, especially if you and your family are going to drink it, and really if you're going to sell it as well, or have a goat share where people can basically own a share of your goat in order to have some milk as well. So it's important when you start milking the goat, they get up on the stand and you have to wipe them down. Their udders get filthy as they lay around during the day, so it's really important that you give them a good wipe. The whole udder, including the teats as well. And then before you do start milking them, you need to what we call strip the goat. And so stripping the goat is milking 1 or 2 strands of milk out of each teat in order to make sure there's nothing clogged back up there. The second thing you need to consider is filtration, the filtration process. And this is all considering you do know how to milk a goat and everything like that. So this is more basically the things people don't really consider. You know you have to learn how to milk a goat, but you don't necessarily know that you have to learn all these other things. So the filtration process, you do need to have, there's specific filters you can use. You can find all of it online or in your local pet store. But it is important that you make sure that you are filtering the milk properly in order to make sure there's no hairs. There's goats shed just like dogs and people, so it's important, and then any like strands of dirt or anything like that. Then the next thing that's really important is you have to make sure you get the milk cold as fast as possible. This is really important to keep it fresh and good. So some people put it in ice buckets, some people put it under a cold faucet, but it's really important to you get that cold as fast as possible. And then finishing up the process before you let your goats go back outside is that you need to dip each teat in an iodine solution. These are specifically at pet stores as well for this specifically, and it's to close up their teat and make sure when they go back outside, since you've just been milking them and opening it up, it'll close it up so that no infection or bacteria can get back up in there. So basically today I just wanted to share with you a little bit of information about owning goats and owning a small farm. So it's important to consider all these factors and think about realistic expectations rather than just ideations we see on social media and everything like that, and also to really understand the milking process and all the things that go with that. Thank you.